The
Coming
past
up
4
next on the
years,
Inherited
I've been able to
Podcast.
sell burger, fries, and pies with Slutty Vegan. And so I started out as social media coordinator. Honestly, I asked Pinky to be the DJ. I used to send her DMs and I would show her different ideas. As a baby star, I was a baby model. So it's like I started early in the industry and not, knowing what I was doing because I was modeling. We were doing commercials. And that was like Soft and Precious baby products. So it's like, that was like my kid name, claim to fame type thing. And please get out the hotel. Please get off the plane. Do your work. Have your set list, have your music, have your backup laptop, have your equipment ready. Get to rehearsal and actually participate in rehearsal. Even if your artist isn't participating in rehearsal, definitely still do everything as if the show is on. DJing took the celebrity side of things, and I started to make more money, more connections, more relationships. And so it took over what I thought sports was supposed to do. I thought that was my career. I thought that was my end all be all. And so DJing actually took the forefront from Vistoso Bosses. So that was Interscope Records and with Soulja Boy at about the same time. I was their official DJ. And then after them would be Showstoppers. So a lot of people familiar with the Crank That movement and Whoop Rico. I was their official DJ, and then right after them would be Dej Loaf.
Building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man. Building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man.
Yo, what's good? It's Sir Gates. We are now back tuning to the Inherited Podcast. Look, I am so happy to be back. And as always, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit the notification bell, and when you're on IG, leave a comment on the Inherited Podcast page. But let's get into today's episode. So today's guest, another special guest of Pop This Year Off, we have Georgiana A. Smith, DJ Ace. How you doing?
Hello. What's going on? How you doing, Mr. Sir? What's happening?
Chilling, man. Happy to be back. Happy to be here. And I'm thank you for pulling up.
Hey. Look, it's a blessing, you know what I'm saying?
To
get in the building and get on, in the hot seat with you. You already know what time it is.
Already. So look, how I pop them podcasts off, right? Got a little icebreaker, right? So I'm gonna ask you a question, but we both gonna answer, but you're gonna answer first.
Okay.
So it's a little, not so much of a brain teaser, but you're gonna think about it, right? So here's your question. Would you rather inherit a thriving family business or build your legacy from scratch?
I think that for me is pretty easy. I would love to build my legacy from scratch. I feel like that's what I'm currently doing. And I would suggest anybody that is coming, out of something like, you're coming out of heritage, a name or a family brand that you still decide to build something that you can call your own, that you can feel that is your own, and also that you're able to add on to or add value to. So just because you come from a name, a family, or a brand, how can you make it bigger and better with adding on to the umbrella? And so for me, I would definitely say I would love to just start my legacy from the ground up, putting those bricks down myself. If they were mess ups, if there were trials, tribulations, I had to physically go through them, and I'm able to understand and better value, what I built as that legacy. Because outside of that, I don't think I can say just because we're related or just because we're blood, I feel that I need to make your brand more successful than my dreams or my aspirations. So what you think? What you think about
so when
what's your idea?
I was kind of stuck because it's like my final response is I would love to build my own legacy, right? But I was just like, if I did inherit a family business, of course, there would be no struggle and this and that. But I said, like with my mindset now, I want to build my own legacy, but I don't know how my mindset would have been if something was passed down to me. So it was kind of like up in the air. But just for how I am now, I want to build my own, man. It's just I love the process. I love the ups and downs. I love the lessons learned and this and that. So I enjoy it so much to where it'd be cool to hand something down, but I'm built enough to put in the leg work and the stuff to do it to get it done. So I would have to say I got to build that legacy myself.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
so we on the same path.
Even that generational wealth, like, I mean, I can't really say like how I would felt if I had the money prepared to buy my house that I did it. You know what I'm saying? I did it on my own. I have to feel like I did it on my own. That self-made mentality, I feel that hustle, and I appreciate it more, and I enjoy it, and I love it more because I did it versus somebody had it already in an account. And once it hit my account at 18, I was able to acquire it and do what I want with it. It's like, I'm good.
Yeah, some people that what they call sometimes trust fund babies, they mess them up long run. They had that regret of like everybody say, you ain't build this, you ain't build that. Your folks gave it to you, so depression and all that stuff come with it. So it gets both sides have its ups and its downs, but again, I'm still stamping in on I want to build my own legacy. I'd rather go that route. So all right, so we can land on that. So look, this is what I want to do, right? So I still believe everybody has a testimony, everybody has a story, everybody has a past. Yeah. And what happened back then is a part of what shaped our mindset today to where we're at in the path that we're on, right? So just take us back to young Ace, right? Growing up, household, friends, childhood, just how was it for you growing up as a kid? I guess you can say until post high school. So just give us that breakdown of how that was for you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, mine is so widespread, and I think it'll take us more than just one podcast to be able to bring it out. As a kid, you know, as a baby star, I was a baby model. So it's like I started early in the industry and not, you know, knowing what I was doing because I was modeling. We were doing commercials, and that was like Soft and Precious baby products. So it's like that was like my kid name, claim to fame type thing. And as I got older, I started to get into sports, and obviously you want to be cool. So sports for me was cool. I was a cool basketball player. I looked like a basketball player, but I couldn't play ball. And I mean, that was a hard part to be, is like to look like a basketball and softball player, but not really be good at either. And soccer was my sport, and so I was able to take it on. And like you'll see now, my post years of, you know, post high school, post college, I was able to take the sport I was so passionate. Thought I would go professional, but actually make it a profession. And like the programs that I work with now, where I own the program, I do the behind the scenes of the sport. But as a kid, I just played, you know, I just played the sport I loved. I was able to referee at like 12. So it's like when we talk about entrepreneurship and kids having jobs, and like, man, we was entrepreneurs a long time ago, before it was cool, before it was the trendy thing. At 12, I can remember sitting in the class, taking my little referee course test and passing with like a 40-year-old sitting next to me, and like we're all, you know, going for the same thing there. I think flash forward a little bit higher is when I was about 14, so a freshman at MLK High School on the east side.
MLK on the east side. Oh, yeah.
The real east side. And
got some behind the scenes views going on.
But at MLK, I had a teacher, a wild teacher named, you know, Mr. Carter, and I was sitting on his back row. And I used to, at this point, I think a lot of kids would look up what you would call like lyrics. And so YouTube was kind of there, but it was like A to Z lyrics, and you wanted to have a, you know, you don't want to print out the words, know the words, you have them in your room. And so my teacher used to watch me do it because I was on that last row. He knew what I was doing, and he knew that I love music. And he took opportunity, a chance on me, brought his equipment to my crib, dropped off 2 big vinyls in my garage. And coming from like a mom household, dad household, and still being able to have someone else build and be invested into you. So by my freshman year, I DJ'd 3 proms. Like I did Salem Middle School, MLK, MLK prom, and I also did Cedar Grove High School. And so I actually brought Lil Scrappy out at prom, and I'm like 14, like DJing. And so like when people talk about like, you know, growing up and like part of like your history, your lineage, like, hey, I go way back. And so when I tell people now, like, yeah, I've been a DJ for going on 19 years. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I started my freshman year. And so if people think about what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go, their trajectory, if they would have thought about like really being serious, or somebody taking interest, or just, you know, being able to motivate them to say like, empower, you can do this. I think we would have had like a lot of people that could say they have 10 years, decades in their industries and what they love to do. Or they could have figured out what they didn't like. If they were a producer at that time, or they were a rapper at that time, they would have known like, hey, this ain't for me. Let me get to something else, because they had time to figure it out. So I think for my younger years, that's pretty it in a nutshell. I spent my whole entire high school year playing sports and still DJing, so I got to experience both sides. Once I got out of college, DJing took the celebrity side of things, and I started to make more money, more connections, more relationships. And so it took over what I thought sports was supposed to do. I thought that was my career. I thought that was my end all be all. And so DJing actually took the forefront. So a lot of people don't know, but from Vistoso Bosses, so that was Interscope Records, and with Soulja Boy at about the same time. I was their official DJ. And then after them would be Showstoppers. So a lot of people familiar with the Crank That movement and Whoop Rico. I was their official DJ. And then right after them would be Dej Loaf. And so I got to tour with her. We were both 25 years old. And so when you think about, like, being at this big old age versus being a young entertainer and young entrepreneur, I just cherish, all those opportunities, the goods, the bads, the mess ups, the failures, the losses, the L's, anything that I've been able to deal with relationship wise, like it's been able to take me to the next level. I've been able to capitalize and build upon it. And so when we talk about like legacy and like inheriting, like I inherited great entrepreneurial gems from my parents, right? They were both entrepreneurs, but at the end of the day, it was more important for me to be able to do what I want, be who I want, and look like how I wanted to. And I think me laying those pillars in my life and laying those bricks by bricks, like I've been able to just build upon it. So I don't look back on anything as if it was an L. I don't look back on anything as like losses or mess ups, because at the end of the day, like everything that I went through has got me to where I am.
Facts.
And even if I was in a room or a place that I wasn't supposed to be, I think that actually helped me out too, because now it actually made me feel like I don't have to do that, or actually I don't have to deal with you, or I don't have to rock with you, because I learned from that experience, that relationship, that it wasn't it. So I hope that pretty much clears it up.
No, you did. You gave a lot of good background. I love to hear you say it about the experience. I feel like experiences are everything. Even when, we do say we take L's or losses, but it may sound cliche, but it's a lesson. But that's just how I learned. All I learned is just, I'm not scared to take risks, because I know what comes out of taking those risks. You're going to come out with, okay, if I did this wrong, now I know, let me go back and reassess, reverse engineer, and do it this way. And I got to try it a few more times, or try to figure out that's not for me. But it's cool to see at a young age, you was testing a few things to know, do I like this? Do I like that? You got some people, they won't even sit out here and try that they're too scared to do it, or they just won't even get up and go do it. But hearing as far as you have entrepreneurship kind of in your blood. So was your parents a big inspiration for that? And what did they specifically do as far as their entrepreneurship?
So my mom was real well known on the East Side. She's always had been doing like weddings and event planning. And she owned this club called like A1 Events that honestly was like the warehouse. And through like all the team parties. So obviously that is great advantage of my industry as a
Real
DJ.
Quick, I'm sorry, cut you off. Was that the spot on the industrial word?
Yeah, that's my mom.
Oh, man. We told me that thing so many times, for real. I didn't know that.
Right,
Because Sugar Bear was DJ there or something.
So Sugar Bear, you name it. I think that was like the... There's so many people that came through. Right. So, we got that opportunity as young kids. I think she started on Redan Road on the other east side, where she had a smaller venue. And what's crazy about like that, and this is a quick story, but Twan Banks, which is from the west side, and Tunde, which is now Ari Lennox, Summer Walker, like their whole team. What they did, they stepped to me, and I was like 13, and they were like, "Whose spot is this? Like, who's throwing parties over here?" So shout out to Tunde, shout out to Twank. They stepped to me as like a teen promoter, and I was young. And there was this guy named Small Wonder, Crank That Batman at the time. They were out, and I was making small moves as a young kid, and like the streets knew. And it was because my mom had event facility and we was throwing parties like
Ooh,
already.
wow,
But yeah, so my mom, she had event planning her whole life. She did modeling. That's why I got into it as a kid. But outside of that, she kind of opened our eyes to seeing like what it was like to own your own business, like bills, lease, signing them, getting a new venue. We went through the 9 yards where we had to come set up the chairs. We had to come set up the tables. So we understood every avenue of owning your own business at a very, very young age. I think as I think back, maybe 5th grade is probably when like I knew she had a 9 to 5, but I also knew she was known for like weddings and planning events. And so on that side of things, like, you know, I just slid into what position I felt was best for me. And she also like believed in us in the fact of like whatever we wanted to do, she'll allow you to do that.
That's great.
I think that was a good part about our childhood with our mom is that no matter what, if you wanted to dress, if you wanted to put something on, if you wanted to have like wacky outfits, crazy sneakers, if you wanted to paint something on your shirt, like she was all for it. And she'll let you walk out that door believing like you're the coolest kid ever. And there was never a moment where I was like, I shouldn't do this because I felt empowered from my mom at an early age. And so I used to ask her and I look back at pictures like, why did I have that on? Or why did you let me walk out the house like that? And it's almost like other kids probably would think the opposite. Like, man, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I could have expressed myself in the way I did. So I definitely, you know, super kudos to what my mom has been able to do in all of my lives, my siblings' lives. But on the other end, my dad, he also owned his own business too. And so we would see him like working his company. We'll know the company name, his business cards. We'll understand like how does he conduct himself on phone calls, how he would go into offices and businesses and what you would call code switch. And at a young age, he wouldn't use like, we're Jamaican, so patois. He wouldn't use his patois. And we would be like, all the aunties and uncles use patois. Why don't you? And he would tell us that when he was younger, he got teased about it. So he perfected his English. He perfected how he communicated and how he properly communicated to people because he knew that barrier was going to be the difference and waymaker between him having a job or a career and a position. So that from him running his business, we got to learn that as well. And so on the other end of things, it's like where you say like, oh, well, it's cool. I didn't understand like my parents having bosses. And so I know some kids got to see like, oh, my mom's boss, or like she got to report in. I didn't know what that was. And not until I got into my own careers and positions where I was like, oh, people have bosses. Like people have to address somebody because my parents would just, we wanted to go somewhere on a trip. They'll just go do it. And I didn't really know, you know, those 9 to 5 type schedules because it wasn't something we really experienced up front. As we got older, we kind of knew what jobs were. I can't really relate to my mom ever really having a job like she did. It wasn't really like a real job to us. Same with my dad. Like I feel like the only time he worked was a contract. And so I always knew like, oh, he was on that contract, but he would be representing himself. So yeah, it is very intense to have that entrepreneurial blood because
you had it in you, like everywhere around you, man.
It's kind of stressful because then it's like, you know, you feel like that lineage thing, like, yes, I have to fall into like
and live up to what my pops and my dudes did.
Do something and make sure I make a name of myself and have my own. And so that was one of those things that you do feel like you're on this pedestal and that you're put up there because you have to obtain this success at this amount of time or at this age, or you should have already been successful because you've had all the resources. Yeah. You've had the experiences. You've had you've been able to look at what they've done. So, you know, I can say it's easy. I can say it's cool, but I could also say like there were times when I think me and my dad really got into like the DJ career and how it was not a job. It wasn't going to do something. He wasn't for it. Nah, not at all. I think they honestly went back and forth on it because she was so pressed on, I know it works. I know there's other careers and places that she can go as a DJ and as a entertainer itself. Even at a young age, she believed in it way more. I think for him, he wanted me to do the opposite of them. which was go to school, get the degree, then come out, get the job, a career.
That's the usual path in the household.
Right, yeah. And so it was, it's tough when you do have two different visions coming out. But I don't, I don't take either of them less than the other. I look at both of them equally. You know what I'm saying? I look at both of those experiences of it took somebody telling me that I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? It took somebody to have that rocket on my back where you don't think I can do this? Let me show you.
I got you.
Let me show you better than I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to buy my house off of DJing. And so when at 25 and I was on tour and I'm doing all these things, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, watch this. You know what I'm saying? So to have that, he probably didn't think that's what he did, or he probably don't think that he was negating my career. But no, in every moment, you think about, man, I want to retire. Man, I want to quit this. I'm tired of this. It was also those moments in the back of my head, like remembering, like somebody told you that there was no careers in DJing. There was no, other jobs that you can do outside of like being in the club all the night at night and partying, or being in environments that you don't choose to be. And like I built my entire DJ career off of not doing that. I've built my entire DJ career off of never having to be stuck on a DJ weekly schedule in a club or having to just do parties. Like, no, I make real money and corporate money and contract money outside of what the norm of a DJ career is. And so it definitely played a part. And I'm not going to say it was a bad part, but it was a part of the lineage thing of your parents thinking what they know is best for you. And it's not always the case.
And it's sometimes like that. It's like, all right, mom, all right, pop. Y'all do know what y'all know, but you still got to understand. Y'all grew up when y'all grew up, and I'm growing up now and experiencing my experience now. And times change. Like, not saying what you're saying doesn't have any validity to it, but you got it's a certain amount that is that weight that it holds now. Because I know what I know too. Like, I may be young, but like you say, at a young age, you was getting folks a book. I even remember thinking one time at that Spot A1 events, that was the first time I grew up in a musical background. Like, that was my getaway from growing up, and it's cool to see that our entrepreneurship journeys stem from different routes, because yours was from like the artistic freedom and your parents doing it, but mine came from just trying to have to survive. So thinking of ways to make the money, it grew that, okay, you can make this money by yourself without going to a job to survive, but just taking that to knowing, instead of doing it to survive, doing it because you want to, or doing it because you want to build a business, but just seeing how those things playing a part, and you had that support and that support system behind you. It's just dope to see that it grew you into an entrepreneur today to where you're at now. So, but I want to ask, right, if you, because I know you say you had a love for sports and then DJing and whatnot. If you could choose, like if you had the freedom, there was no barriers between either one, which one would you choose? Would you really be still doing sports right now, or the DJ life was for you?
I mean, I actually live both worlds right now. So I literally do both now. So I was able to make that vision come true. But if I still had to go back and do it all over again and choose, like, my senior year walking off of MLK field and not knowing what college was about to sign me, and then walking off the college fields knowing like this might be it. I have a DJ tour that's sitting right here in front of me, and I got to make a decision. Am I going to re-sign a year to play or go DJ? Like, no, I'm not changing that decision. Like, I would still be a DJ. I would still, kind of go full throttle where I went with my career. I think there's no way of going back and like changing or altering anything. I don't think I could have worked out more versus DJing that Sweet 16 birthday party. I don't think there was a time that I should have visited more colleges to try to get recruited. I don't think that I went to the wrong school and I should have went to the art school because I was in entertainment. So everything that has played out thus far had to be played out that way, and I wouldn't change it because I still have my soccer success, and going pro as a African-American woman in that sport is so rare that I would have been selling myself this dream as if any other sport is, of thinking that you are going to make it and the odds are just totally against you. So as much as I love the sport and I'm passionate, I'll travel around the world, I will ultimately choose music and DJing. And the opportunities that I've been able to afford others to come behind me and them to see somebody like them do it. and be successful at it, because that also plays a part into it too. Because kids could have saw me play soccer on a big screen, versus me being able to take my old DJ equipment and gift it to somebody at them turning 15 or 16 at their birthday party, and now they're able to see like, oh, she's a DJ, she DJ'd my party, now I can be a DJ, and now she has 10 years, you know what I'm saying, 10 years of a DJ career as well on top of my 19. And I think that I've been more impactful as a DJ as I would have been as just a soccer player, as a soccer coach, as any other industry of soccer. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Understood. I love that. So and then I know you said as far as you didn't have to go the typical route of the late nights, this and that. So how did you break that barrier as far as doing it your way and how you want to do it as far? I don't want to be in the clubs all the time. I want to do it this way. So how did you do that for yourself?
Boundaries. And I think back then we didn't know really the word boundaries or how capitalized it is now. But my parents were very strict in the part of saying like, you're a little too young for that, because there were times where I would get great opportunities, but I was underage. And I was at an age also where they would have to, and this is real, take you back 90s and the 2000s, but they would put X's on my hands. And I would be DJing and they'll escort me. I'll have my little book bag, my mixer.
Crazy.
They'll escort me straight to the DJ booth and I'll DJ. And this is 16, 17, 18, 19, you know what I'm saying? Because at those times, I still was under 21. Luckily for me, though, I don't drink and I don't smoke. And I've never drank and I've never smoked.
That's crazy. The life, the realm you went through to not do none of that.
Yeah,
you strong.
And it's also because at a young age, I was in those environments. I was in those spaces. I actually got to see the wrongs. I got to see the failures. I got to see the mess ups of people that were indulging into both of those. And so for me, I can't relate on to a reason why I would recreational, or I would indulge. And so when it came to my lifestyle outside of DJing, I chose not to do clubs. I chose not to do parties that were late night, shoot it up, house parties. There, you name it. It was like, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I could refer you to someone, but I'm unavailable. And I got to choose. And I think I got curated to the fact that I wouldn't be offered those gigs. Like right now, I can't book a club gig because I don't have a club resume or experience or somebody that you can call and ask, have you seen me or where do you DJ? Because you don't have that.
Yeah.
But if you ask me about what shows I've been on, if you ask me what tours I've been on, if you asked what artists' birthdays, child's Sweet 16, I have the resume. I can tell you what celebrities' birthdays I've DJ'd for. I can tell you what private events, what corporate events, like from everybody from Google to Home Depot to Apple. If you name it, I have those options. And so I can't say it was a special science behind it, but at a younger age, you can't really DJ clubs. You can't really be in those environments technically. So, and once I did get the options and the chances to do it, it just wasn't for me, and I didn't align with it. It wasn't with my brand. And I also DJ'd a lot in the church, and I grew up in the church. And so when you think about mixing those two worlds, it's it's already secular music. It's already you're doing this, you're doing that. And so just putting myself in those environments, it wasn't. It just was not aligned with what I should be doing. And I don't regret clubs at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't regret those chances of, I got this money. Because I remember I got the call to go DJ at one of the biggest strip clubs. And they're like, we want a female DJ that's rising up, that we can, grow with, that can be with us for years. Can you sign this contract? Can you come see us? And I was super anti-strip clubs. I was like, pro women, no, do not. And I've never been in, so I've never been in a strip club, but I was just so like, and there's a lot of girl DJs that got their start as a strip club DJ. And I no knocking them, but for me, it just was not the option I got to choose, that I chose to choose, and I steered away from it. And I don't feel like I missed any money that was not already supposed to come to me. And I look at every opportunity. When I got the call for Google, I don't even think the invoice got cleared. So I got to say, yeah, I DJ for Google, but I can tell you right now, I don't think that invoice ever cleared.
Dang.
And it was probably just a mishap of somebody didn't send it to who they were supposed to. But as it looks good, I saw somebody last week and they were like, yeah, you DJ my event at Google, but you remember everything that you ain't get paid for.
Yeah.
So I got to build that relationship, communicate to that person, and hopefully be able to book something on the long run. But when you think about it, like short term, in my mind, I could have said like, yeah, I never got paid. But I had to chuck it up and address her as like, hey, it was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, I remember exactly that day. But yes, and you learn, don't get stiffed in the club if you ain't get paid up front. I train my DJs because I have a roster now, about 8 of them that are under me. And I train them. And I train them on having your contracts, being paid up front, having your logistics, making sure you have backup equipment. You go in a lot of clubs, their equipment's trash. And now, if you hear that I'm the DJ or I'm on the flyer and now my equipment's not working, that's a bad impression on me. And so for
you're
me,
the DJ, not the club.
Right. And so for me, that was huge. There were so many other opportunities and spaces for me to spend that it didn't matter that I had to be in those clubs. So,
But it seemed like what did it, one, it was God's plan, and your boundaries is like, you said that there wasn't no formula, but that formula was that boundary. Like you set yourself up to like, all money ain't good money. If it's not for me, I'm not going to sit here and, how they say, sell my soul and sell myself out just because I got these opportunities. So doing that's some good advice for anybody who's trying to be a DJ, or no matter what you're doing, have your boundaries. Like, don't just say yes because the money look good, because you can either end up, shooting your career up, or you can go all the way down because of that one bad opportunity. But kudos to you for doing that and standing on all 10 doing that. But so in the DJ realm, right, growing up or even as of now, did you have any like DJ influences, somebody you looked up to? And if so, who are they and why you look up to them?
National DJ Day, I got to actually drop a bunch of these, but obviously the first DJ, of course, is DJ Sugar Bear, who obviously started my career. I would say discovered me, launched it, gave me a lot of opportunities, a lot of gigs early on in my teen years, and also taught me the business side. And a lot of people don't do that. You can be discovered by A&R as a rapper or as a singer, but that's it. They'll get you to the label or get you to a manager and then leave you there. I had a DJ that was able to mentor me, talk to my parents, explain to them the value, understand what type of equipment to use. And so he's like number one. Then like my number 2 is Greg Street. And he's obviously played a role as like an uncle. I knew him before I was a DJ, so I do get to have that, like I'm not just trying to copy you, but like I am, wanting to be like your succession. So definitely Greg, because obviously you couldn't have him without this music industry as well.
And Atlanta, without hearing Greg on the radio,
yeah. So it's great to be attached to his name and his brand, and for him to believe in me so many times. And when I think I want to do Saw Girl, I want to do this, he's always like stood behind me. Even into the career that I just left for the past 4 years, he was the guy to say like, hey, I know you want to do radio, I know you want to do DJing, but you need to get on with this brand. And I feel like you're going to be able to add so much value. You're going to be able to add so much to the brand, and it's going to help you. And he helped, shape my decision in January of 2020, right before the pandemic started. So I give him kudos for that. It's so many more, and I would feel horrible. Vashti is a female DJ. So that was the first time I ever saw somebody that looked like me, sounded like me, was able to hold their own in the industry, brand deals, DJing the fun stuff, the cool stuff, the branded stuff. There's DJs up north like Diamond Cuts, Mary Mac, down here, Speaker Fox, Who's Passed, but you have other DJs like, it's so many, DJ Princess Cuts, and it's a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like
sounds like everybody who's saying get out. Y'all know she loves you.
Please, yes. If I did not say your name, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. But there is in my college career, DJ Trey. he definitely, stepped
out to
up.
Trey.
Yeah, he definitely stepped up, and his entire camp, anybody down there in Albany that was able to take me from just being local teen DJ and allowed me to have college DJ experience, allowed me to spend. And it allowed me to learn from them too, because they gave me like my radio break. There was a lot of DJs in college in that area that gave me that opportunity. But outside of that, if I was to say, it's so many, and I have a great network of DJs above and below. And I think when we network, we're always so like, let me talk to the big guy. Let me talk to, this celebrity or this, all that. I can't tell you that DJ Drama made a difference in my life. I can't tell you that anything that he did other than making mixtapes was cool to me, because I can't touch him. Now, granted, I met him. I've been in the room with him. But outside of that, I can't say DJ Drama is the reason I'm this kind of DJ. But if you talk about DJ Diamond Cuts, if you talk about DJ K Swift, if you talk about women DJs that I've got to see, I've got to physically talk to, that I've been able to embody and take their version of what it's like to go to the next level, then we talking. But the Holidays, the DJ A's, if you talk about all these other DJs that are industry, I can't, because we are peers and we're in the same business, but people that totally affected me, nah, they know who they are. Yeah. And I feel like if anybody wants to reach back and say, like, they made my career, they can say it if they have the substantial backup and to show, like, this is what my resume was and this is the trajectory that they changed for me. But definitely shouts out to Greg and Sugar Bear, because those two people, like, literally, I would say changed my life. I wouldn't say they didn't change my life. And I wouldn't, if I was in a bigger and better opportunity, come back and not give them their flowers, because they were, the ones that made a difference, and gave me an opportunity and a vision that I didn't have for myself. And so, definitely shouts out to both of them. And a big one to Sugar Bear too,
because he was the DJ of my childhood in the streets, outside of course the mixtapes, but of course because of the school. But he was the one, we was out, 9 times out of 10, the party we went to, he was there DJing. So shouts out to you, DJ Sugar Bear. And I heard you mention a lot of, a couple of female DJs, right? Do you think in the industry of DJing, there's a glass ceiling for women DJs, either now or still, or how hard is it to navigate being a female DJ?
Oh, yeah. Like, it's an ongoing conversation. And I don't think, just like any other career, any business, we talking about women's sports, if we talking about women CEOs, obviously, as a DJ, you think he and DJ. Right. Those two words are always together. I heard somebody have a conversation today, and he literally said, the DJ, he be. And I was like, you didn't correct him? Like, he and she, or he or she? And I was like, wow, it's so accustomed, and it's still so regular and normal to people to say, oh, the DJ, and just say him.
Yeah, think about the guy.
And so, it's a huge disadvantage. And now more than ever, I feel like women DJs have this stigma of a look. And women rappers are kind of going through that same issue now too, where it's only one look and they have to fit in this little box, and they can't just look like themselves. They can't come represent as themselves. And so at an early and young age, I was told, like, I was too sporty, and I was also dressing like too masculine, and that was not going to help my DJ career. And that I needed to change the way I dress. And it was actually an older female DJ that came to me. That came to me and told me, like, you keep dressing like that, you're not gonna get no gigs, or you're not gonna get into the rooms that you want to, because you're not sexualizing it enough.
Look at her now.
Right, yeah. And look at them now. Nah, but I mean, and I'm sure that person can probably look back on that advice as if, like, dang, it was pretty shady to give me, because I don't think they walk in that same, room as that kind of DJ. But that was the advice I was given. And I do feel like, the stripper DJs, and I don't want to, offend anyone, but the half-naked DJs, the girls that can come out of the booth, turn around, shake their behind, have a thong on, and the crowd goes wild. But why? You know what I'm saying? But why would you do that? When your craft and your talent is in the booth. You can blend, you can mix, and you can cut music just as, or if not better than, a male DJ, but you are sexualizing that image or that view. And I get it being a pretty girl because that might be your thing, that might be your talent. But there has been this shift of where the girl DJ is like this sex symbol versus being just a talented professional in this career. And obviously the pay is not the same. If I was to send in my invoice and the guy was to send in his invoice, regardless if we had the same number, we had the same resume, we had the same talent, they'll choose the guy and pay what they ask versus coming back to a girl and they're going to negotiate down, or want to not offer the same accommodations. And that is also something that I've seen as well. Talking about riders and just talking about what's on your contract. And I've had guy DJs look at my stuff and look at, how can I change my career or change, how I do my contracts. But I know this industry does not care. They want what they want. They're going to get it however they can. If you don't do it, they'll go to the next man or woman. And this industry has done that time and time again. I've come behind DJs that were at an event or at a gig or charging a certain amount. And I've come on the other end of things, been replaced by the lower cost DJ, the I'm just trying to get an opportunity DJ, the she charged that, I'll beat her or match it, or I'll go a little bit less and give you a little more. And that's never been something that I was interested in. I've never done that because I do know it's a peer to peer. And if I do something, that's going to affect either that next DJ that comes behind me or that kid growing up that wants to do what I'm doing. And if I only took this number, how would they be able to grow? How would they be able to go to the next level? So for me, it's definitely been one of those issues, but I never let it affect me.
I can see.
I do, you'll look at things where like I did feel blackballed at one point. I did feel like certain DJs, because I was younger at the time, I feel like younger DJs don't get as much of opportunities. And just girl DJs, I think both were two stigmas. And then obviously when you bring it to like sexuality and how you're dressing, even your sexual orientation, I feel like all of those go up against you when you don't fit in this little glass box of what the DJ should look like, sound like, visually look like. And that was it for me. But right now, I'm totally set into where I am. If my price isn't paid, I'm not showing up. If my contract hasn't been completed and we haven't agreed upon the terms, then I'm not interested. And I've got to the point where I'm able to make that decision. I've got the house years ago off of DJing, so now I don't really bother. But coming up, I'm representing DJs and I'm allowing them to understand why I say certain things or why I do certain things or why did I have to take that call on your behalf, just to show the buffer in between. This is a business, this is a brand, this is a entertainer, and she should be respected as such, and this is her rate, and this is what she charges, and this is what she brings to the table, and we know her value. And when 844 Need a DJ represents that DJ, we want people to know like why it's so important. You're getting this quality DJ, just not somebody pulling up with a laptop and plugging it in. So
I just hate that it's like they have that glass box of you should fit this and that. It's like if somebody's good at their craft and they dope, let them rock out. It's like years back then, even though it wasn't right, but I could kind of say, I guess, not that they didn't know any better, but that was just them. But now we know better. It's just if somebody's just dope at what they're doing, let them do what they do. The overall mission is gonna be accomplished. But it's like all this ego and that stuff can get away into good business and one good relationship. So I just wish that was just changing. No matter what industry you're in, male, female, whatever. Like the craft is a craft. Let the main thing be the main thing and get it done. But having said that, right, when and there may be a DJ watching, a young DJ want to get in the game, this and that. So when it comes to tour life, what has been your favorite tour and what is that like as a DJ? Like the highs, the lows, the stresses, like what is that like?
I've been on a lot of different kind of tours, and I'll talk about one of the most recent ones. It was about almost a year or so ago. And it was unconventional. I'm not going to say it was like an artist performing, but I was booked in certain cities and I was on a tour with a group of people. And what has been like so important in my career now of choosing what places and what spaces and those boundaries is making sure that it makes sense for me, my brand, and my business. If it doesn't align with those three, then it's almost like it's a disservice to myself as well as whoever I'm servicing as well. So if I was to tell any like young person coming up and they're thinking about what it takes with an artist, DJing, you have to have a relationship. I don't care what anybody says. There is no DJ that has been successful by not having any type of relationship, friendship, bond with that artist. And that makes the world of a difference. On the show, after the show, when it's time to go to dinner, when it's time to go get on a flight, I need to run back to the hotel, miss this flight, make sure I get back on, grab my laptop equipment, come to rehearsals. All of those are important. And if you don't train yourself as a business and you build that type of business relationship and that bond, it won't work. And I know it didn't work because I didn't have that relationship. I didn't have that bond with the artist that I was working with. We didn't. And it took us years later to now we are, a better relationship in space where things could have been perfect and we could have taken each other's careers to the next level. But at the time, we weren't there. And I do believe like it has to be organic. You can place people together, but until you build that bond, it won't be. It won't be cohesive. It won't be fun, and it won't take you all's careers to the next level. But outside of that, you're a business. Don't go out partying late nights, getting, drunk and taking things out of the ordinary. You're at work. So also think about that when you are, flirting and talking and dealing with people. You have to understand that this is a business. You are a business, and everything that people will reflect will also show off on you as well. So I think there's a lot to go into the tour life. What I enjoy the most is like being able to go into a city, rock out, break new music, take an artist that I've probably known or not, know that their music might not work in the area and drop it and actually shoot them a video and say, yo, I just played your record out in Los Angeles. I know you ain't out here yet, but your music is. And so that has always been like one of the greatest things for being a DJ is to be able to play somebody's record to a city or a state that they've never been to, or to be able to break it and give them that chance and that opportunity while I'm out on tour doing shows. Outside of that, I just love travel and to be able to take the two, getting paid to be on the road and also being able to experience it. But if you are artist, DJ, and respect that, respect them as their brand, try to show up and be there with them, try to get them out the hotel and y'all go see the city. I think when I was on a European tour, I was the only one leaving the hotel and like going out in London.
You gonna go out here and not leave the room, man? Come on.
No.
How many times you gonna be able to do that if it was your
How could you, I was 25 sitting in the back of a Rolls Royce and I was like, this is the life. Like I'm in Europe right now, just turned 25 and I'm in the back of a Rolls Royce, picked me up from the airport and I'm able to travel the world on something I love, a career that I built as a kid. And now I'm taking it to the next level. So please get out the hotel. Please get off the plane. Do your work. Have your set list. Have your music. Have your backup. Have your backup laptop. Have your equipment ready. Get to rehearsal and actually participate in rehearsal. Even if your artist isn't participating in rehearsal, definitely still do everything as if the show is on. And then when it's time to start the show as a DJ, it's your job to build that crowd, to get them to that momentum and that moment, because the show only lasts 60 to 90 minutes, if that. And so if you don't take advantage of every moment, every second that you're out there on that stage, you're doing yourself a disadvantage. But any other young DJs DJs that got questions, you know, I'm an open book. I love my team, and I've given them every opportunity that I've been able to afford them. And if there are more out there, I'm searching for it, and I want them to be able to experience the things that I have, because it did change my life. It did, you know, take me to rooms and spaces and cities and states and countries that I never imagined that a DJ career could. And also, like, if my dad told me that if I would have listened right then and there, like, there's no jobs or careers at DJing, I couldn't imagine where I would be. So, like, and I'm also on the philanthropy style of my life now, where I feel like the next 30 years of my life is going to be in a giving back space, going to be training up DJs and producers and entertainers that are able to see that it can be. You don't have to take the traditional route. And if trade school is the option that you choose, well, there's audio and audio visual trade school. And there's, you know, you can have a degree and talent under what you're doing right now. And I think we get so caught up on, just go get a business degree. Why? If I'm a DJ, it would have saved me way more time, energy, and education and money if I would have learned an audio trade, or if I would have learned something about production or something about, and I'll add that on as my resume. So I think that's what's so important to me now. Is like, I want to train DJs, but I want to educate them, and educate to the point where I can go into a senior classroom. Hey, if you don't feel like you're ready for college, there's another opportunity. This gig, this speaker, this board, and also these classes that you can go take up the street at DeVry or whatever the college may be, that can set you apart from their counterparts, and then also give you a job, an opportunity, what is also could be a career. And so I think these next years are going to be so crucial, because it's bigger than just career days and pep rallies and, you know, getting on in front of a mic on a podcast, or getting out in front of these events and talking to somebody one time. I think the way you can change kids' lives is showing up in their lives, and showing them that it can be done. So if I got to put 2 or 3 DJs behind me while I do this gig, or while I got a show on Sunday, while I do this TV show on Sunday, and you get to see me in real live action, there's no other believers that I can create if they can't see it.
Facts.
So that's where I'm at now. And so if you are a young DJ, my brand, 844 Need a DJ, services the DJ community. It gives DJs those opportunities, those businesses, to make themselves a business and able to represent themselves, but also be able to walk them into rooms and gigs. And I think last year I got one of my DJs a Red Bull event. And I could have easily took it for myself. I could have easily put my name on you know, next to Red Bull. But I feel like it made a difference in her career, and it made her feel good. That Red Bull is calling me right now to book me for a gig. My other DJ, end of the year, she capped her year off on the 31st DJing for the NFL.
That's
like,
hard.
I think you could say, like, yo, I'm big. You know what I'm saying? I did the Googles. I did Home Depot. I did Atlanta Hawks. I hit a lot of career heights last year. But those two, my 2 younger DJs, getting corporate gigs and being requested.
You brought somebody else up. You put the footwork
they're gonna be able to go to the next level with that, and it feels good for them. And I think that has been crucial. Another one of my DJs, she gets to go all around the world and DJ from cruise lines to Carnival to everywhere else. But for me, I remember her mom and grandma saying, hey, she wants to be a DJ like you. Can you take her somewhere? And in January, I had her DJing, and I let her DJ the first 30 minutes. And for the final, she sat behind me, and I said, just watch. I'm not telling you to do what I do. I'm not telling you to DJ the way that I DJ. I'm not telling you to watch my style. I just want you to watch. And I wanted her to be able to feel what it was like to do a show, feel what it was like to do an event, feel what it was like to do a party. So now it's not something that's random or weird or uncomfortable, because you've experienced it. You've been through one. So now let's do your own, and you can see how I handle my business and as my brand. So it's definitely been a one-up for me.
That's dope. Like, even when you told her to watch, like, there's fundamentals in watching that. Like you said, don't mimic, but if you look at it, there are certain ebbs and flows that I'm doing or this and that you can pick up on and still put your own spin on it. So I love that. And then just have the mindset of, I want to bring value and give back. Like, I just wish that mindset was just more spread out, because it's just, we can do all we want to do, get these accolades, get this and that. But if you're not passing it down, or if you're not helping somebody else out, or you just want to be a gatekeeper or just hold all this in, like, what is the purpose? Like, once we leave and once we die, all that stuff goes with you, when you could have easily given that value and that opportunity to somebody else, either looking up to you or coming up behind you. So pick up flowers for that and doing that, and kudos to that. That's making it's making a real difference out here. Some folks may be smarter than them, but it's not a lot of positive forward things like that. There's so much negativity and stuff going on. It's just wild. So keep doing that. But I want to switch gears real quick before we get up out of here, right? So I know you're a DJ, but you have your multifaceted, you're talented. So outside of DJing, when it comes to the creative side of things, like creative directing or just getting things done as far as marketing, how did that come about? And talk about some of the opportunities you have with that.
Yeah, I think we all have been in the social media world. I think we started really young, and we had this great opportunity that at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, we were exposed to social media way before any marketing teacher, way before the colleges were catching on to it. We got to see things from like Tag to Facebook.
I remember Tag.
To Black Planet. There were a lot of websites that we were exposed to at a very, very young age, which also allowed us to create and adapt to those. So for me, I was a MySpace kid. I was tagged, pretty big on Tag. And I started to understand influence. And when it comes to influence marketing, I was able to understand businesses because I was in the entrepreneurial space and understanding what my parents did, like on black and white and paper and business cards, and understanding relationships and networking. And so for me, I already knew those things, but now to make it digital, I was able to understand the digital space, take music and mesh it together. So things like having a playlist and a mixtape, and those were crucial at a younger age, because we only talked about burning CDs, and all the kids would be like, hey, can you burn me this CD, or can you make my mix? Yeah. And so if you were able to educate yourself and learn about downloading in digital music, understand the MP3s and how to edit, well, you were already one up to everybody else around you. But when it came to marketing, I jumped into social media as I had the experience. I remember arguing with a college professor, and he didn't get it yet. And I was like, yo, I can tell you it's next. And if you don't know that it's next, then this isn't the class for me. And I dropped out that year because I was like, hey, I know what I'm doing already. Like, I don't need anything that you're teaching me, because the old school of marketing can't get you into any room right now. If you don't know the digital side of marketing, that's it. There's nothing past that. So I was able to work on a lot of businesses, a lot of brands. What's most important for me is to make a difference. Yeah. And what my difference was is I was the crazy thinker. So if you think about the Kanye crazy genius, I was able to come into brands and businesses and give them wild ideas. Think of things that were not currently happening, understand trends, understand what the young demographic wanted, how they related and how they consumed marketing. What's most recent, the past 4 years, I've been able to sell burger, fries, and pies with Slutty Vegan. And so I started out as social media coordinator. Honestly, I asked Pinky to be the DJ. I used to send her DMs, and I would show her different ideas, like, hey, while the people in line, throw them water and do contests and send them messages. Capitalize off the line and making sure that we have some type of digital inventory of those people. Then I was able to move from just wanting to be the DJ to social coordinator. And so for about 6 months straight, I would talk to every single customer that ate at the restaurant. And so at any Slutty Vegan, if you had any question, you talked to me for 6 months straight. So before I moved to any other position in the company, I knew what the customer wanted. Yeah. I knew what the consumer...
Knew that target audience.
Yeah, I knew the target. I knew the consumer. I knew what was their gripes, what did they love, what they hated. And so as I got promoted up more and more, and I was getting rapid promotions, I went from coordinator to social media manager. And as a social media manager, I'm touching every single platform, and I'm able to communicate. If you've never walked into that restaurant, if you've never had a burger, I want you to feel as if you did. I wanted you to feel the experience. And I also wanted you to feel a part of this brand. And I built that community, that family, where people were able to love Slutty Vegan, know everything about it. I was able to educate you, so you knew everything that we sold. You knew our burger names. You knew, who owned the company. We got to educate on ownership. We got to educate on why we did certain things and what food was healthy. We talked about veganism, and then there was other sides of we made you bust out laughing. We made you share that content. And so I was able to manage that platform from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter, all the way across to the TikTok, the LinkedIn. And so when we talk about social media, it's having that media mix and be able to touch marketing in multiple channels. In my later years, I went on to be the director of digital marketing. And I love that position. I think I was there about 9 months. And what I was able to do is understand email marketing, understand why we text and do certain sales, and understand that it was bigger than just a social media post. And it was bigger than just connecting that customer to liking the brand. It was more so converting and having them use the brand, purchase the brand, buy the products, all the way into, in the most recent year, maybe doing over 1 million sales in consumer product goods. And that's an industry that we were able to tap into. But what I was able to do is market it. And what you would say is crazy is go viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
And going viral on TikTok, I think my first 3 or 4 campaigns didn't work. They had 0 following. The contest didn't work. Dang. Nobody caught on to it until November of that year. Somebody got the product. They walked into the store. They got it from a Target. They came back home, tried it on TikTok, made a review, and it just went haywire after that. It spread and went crazy, and we went viral, and the sales rocketed. We were, going into more locations. But I was able to do something from just a, what you would call like, it wasn't fake. It was organic. Yeah. It wasn't like I had to create a person and tell them go do this right now. There wasn't a talent booked. It was all, what you call user-generated content. And so when it comes to like marketing, and Slutty Vegan is only just one company that I worked with, because outside of that, I was able to be one of the creators of what American Sesh is now being able to do. And that is super entrepreneurial based, and just building it from the ground up. I think being in the neck of things and like making little changes and edits and making the Instagram and building the Facebook and understanding why, we did certain things and how we did it and how we launched it. The way the cadence of talking about a brand that came out of nowhere, nobody knew anything about it. We were selling air. And it's just rough to talk about now because it's a big business and a brand now, but we was selling air. We didn't have anything, but to the naked eye, you watched us grow. You watched us create. I used my entire Christmas break. I was out in California. Pinky was out on a boat, and she was, calling me like, "Yo, okay, we got this. We're like, let's do this, and let's do this." I'm like, "Yeah, let's game." You know what I'm saying? And all the way down to like, all right, I'm a DJ. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do it. I'm a host it. I'll be there. I'll be able to add value. I'll be able to talk, but I'll also be able to watch and produce and make changes, and down to casting. I got to experience a lot just from this marketing job that I thought I was just coming in to DJ. And that's why I said, like, it opened up doors that having that DJ A-Star as that name and that tag, it walked me into so many rooms and so many different opportunities. I'm now in another social position with a different company or corporation, and I get to sit back and educate, and I get to sit back and add value.
The growth.
And go to the next level. And there's been so many opportunities I can't deny, from other businesses and brands, down to even like churches and nonprofits, because I attend a church called impact. And I've been able to help their youth group on the social aspect is during the pandemic, we had to connect with those youth because there was no services. There were no church. You couldn't go anywhere. And so we built this social media channel outside of the actual church's channel where the kids were able to, you know, talk and post and submit celebratory times. And it was like little channels and little social media platforms that marketing wasn't like I was selling a product or I was trying to get them to give in offerings. No, it was a connection and a community that was being made. So there's a lot of different levels of social media that I've got to tap into. For the most part, I love, you know, being on the backside and behind the scenes of a lot of people. Even Greg Street having an opportunity to run, you know, his socials at one point. You name it, I've probably worked with him.
He's not here working, man. Stop playing.
Yeah. And a lot of my like celebrity friends, I think on my LinkedIn, the bio says I run millionaire social media.
Yeah.
And I run $1 million brand social media. And it's not something you take light. And I tell every company, like, don't think this little free platform over here that has a free app is not going to make the difference of you getting that customer in the door that wasn't planning on coming. Because until they saw that post or that trend or that sound or that somebody shared it or sent it to them, they would have never known about you. So it's not Yellow Pages and it's not a business card. We're in a digital space. And if people understand how far they can go, they can definitely take their business to the next level. And I think I'm one of those people that I'm solely invested and I'm solely believe that having your phone up and ready and creating that content, you can take it to the next level. So marketing is my baby. And I do feel a little, you know, my resume is probably a lot of, it's petite compared to others. But when you check my track record, and you check my mills, you check what I've been able to do. I mean, 100 million valuation on a brand that, you know, it's definitely a marketing company first and they just sell burgers. Be able to create those customers and that opportunity was, you know, a great opportunity for the past 4 years that I got to do it. And I just, you know, I'm building upon it, adding, you know, to the next step and walking into the next business and brand, I'm able to take them to that next level. So I'm excited.
Man. That's beautiful. And then like you said, with this social media thing, you can't take it for granted because it's one, if you got a business, whatever brands you got, being able to market and tell your story, these free platforms, it helps you get that story out. Because without that story, how are you building those personal connections with your target audience? How are you getting them wanting to buy into what you're doing outside of just the price point, but just knowing, you know, I can relate to whomever what X, Y, Z is standing for. So it's beautiful that you're doing that. But on a mental tip real quick before we get up out of here, how do you deal with all of this stuff mentally? I'm pretty sure there are some days you're like, may get anxious, get anxiety, and may, I don't know, go to sometimes a place of depression and just being overwhelmed. So how does Ace deal with her mental side of things?
I'm definitely going to start there as I'm a mental health advocate. I do not put mental health on the back burner in no way, shape, form, or fashion. I was able to accept my diagnosis I think I was about 10th grade. I was like ADHD. So I actually had to go into an office and get a diagnosis from a lawyer and a team so I could go to a certain school and have this opportunity. And they required you to be able to go through the test, pass the test, and make sure that you're categorized. My parents chose no medicine. And so I appreciate them for understanding like that decision on across the board. But I don't feel that there isn't a way that people should choose. There should be an option. I don't feel like there's a class or a way to decide. I've dealt with anxiety probably my entire life. My parents dealt with a divorce about my senior year of high school. And I think from that point on, you kind of like try to figure out where did the trauma come or where is that you can pinpoint back. And I think my anxiety probably took the biggest spike. Just educating people. I like to educate myself. I like to learn more. At 19, I had a childhood best friend commit suicide.
Sorry to hear
that. It was one of those moments where I had to lean into education. I had to lean into understanding mental health because, everybody pointed the finger. Everybody wanted to know why and answer these questions that a book couldn't tell us, that a family member, a letter couldn't left behind wouldn't have been able to explain why they did what they did. And so understanding what she might have went through and understanding those experiences and then dealing with high functioning depression as an adult and as a career and professional, it has also been able to open my eyes of what somebody that gets so close to the edge and gets so close to dealing with hard mental times was going through. Because if you working hard and you doing a lot of things and being pulled, and what I say is like your cup being so sucked dry that you don't have anything to fill or refill it up, you will experience those dark times. And for me, I can't sit here and say like there was ever a moment that I didn't feel those dark spaces or I felt alone or I felt like it was just me or I felt super anxious and I'm about to walk into meetings or I'm about to walk into workspaces or I'm about to walk onto a stage where it's 100,000 people standing in front of me waiting for me to push play and hoping that I don't, laptop doesn't crash or equipment doesn't go. So I can't say that there has been one time in my life where I didn't have to deal with some level of mental health. On the good side of mental health, I've actually dealt with a therapist, and shouts out to Big Sean of all the people. One of my favorite artists, favorite rappers, he talked about his therapy journey. And before that, I didn't see it. In our community, we don't see it. We don't hear people talking about going to the mind doctor, the head doctor, or talking about their therapist as if it is a doctor, because it is. And they work on your brain and your mind. And if we don't take care of it, things do happen. And so for me, therapy did wonders. Still does wonders because I'm still in therapy and I will always be in therapy. My children, anybody I date relationship-wise, I lean into therapy hard and I also express that as well. But for me, mental health hasn't derailed any point of my life. I do feel like there are times where I've had to take steps back. I do remember like DJing where I felt like I needed to retire. I can't do this anymore. It's not giving me the results that I want. And I do believe that that was just something in my mind and that my mind was something holding me back in a way that I didn't believe in myself. And that was all it was. And I was able to move on to the next year and still believe that I was a DJ and I was a great DJ. And I dealt with like self-sabotage. And I think with entrepreneurs, that's one of the biggest things we do with procrastination and self-sabotage.
And imposter syndrome.
We holding ourselves back and until we take that leap. And honestly, I think we just have to experience more and execute more. And I know it's easier said than done. But as my ADHD was diagnosed, they gave me tools. And for me, those tools were making lists and crossing them off. And so at 16, I've been making lists my entire rest of my life. But towards the older I get, I want to write more and I want to put the pen down to the paper and get it out of my head. And we talk about like having visions and vision boards and you physically seeing what you want to do and you vision yourself going to that next level. That's why it's so crucial and important to visualize yourself in those spaces and manifest what you want, because until you see it, until you believe it, until you invest in yourself, why would anyone else? Why would it come to fruition? So those have been some of the tools. I don't take any medication. I do take a supplement, a vitamin supplement, and I do suggest people to like really explore your options. There's teas that help with anxiety. There's teas that help you. Obviously, there's like medicinal things and THC, but obviously I don't drink or smoke, so I don't indulge. But I do feel like if that's something that helps you go to your next level and helps you cope and eases your mind, then I suggest you full-heartedly follow up with those doctors and people that are able to assist you there. But for me, taking It's a calming supplement. I take it, once a day, every morning. And even if it's not working, right, and it's probably, it doesn't have 100,000 reviews on Google or Amazon. For me, I take it and I know I might be just this much less anxious because it's a routine and I've built that routine and it has eased my mind into some anxious moments and times where I really couldn't get out of this space where I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I? What am I doing? For me, like the hardest thing is like getting dressed. Like for the average person, you're like, just throw something on. But for me, I'm like, okay, perception. How is everybody gonna view me? Well, what if I wear this brand over this brand, or if I wear this style clothes or this color offends the next person? And so in my mind, all of those ideas went through my head before I even opened the drawer. Or was the drawer not organized? Or does it match my sneakers or a hat? And so that's the level of like mental health, issues that I've gone through. But when it comes to as a DJ or industry wise, being anxious does happen. And I know a lot of artists that deal with anxiety on multiple levels. You'll hear like Summer Walker try to be as vocal as she can and explain to people, and then they question why or how. And I'm like, your average person that can't walk into a room that has, social anxiety, you're not questioning them. But we put these artists and celebrities on pedestals where they deal with the same mental health as us. And their brains are, clinically up and down just like ours. And I think we all should give each other grace. And if we understand, like now the soft girl era, the soft guy era is so, I guess, publicized. But if we really understand and really lean to, we ain't got to be this hard. We ain't got to be this tough and this, can't cry, can't share emotions, can't express ourselves, or can't talk about what's really going on. If we could get to a point where that conversation is well known and well open, I think, any workplace, any business, and even in your business and your brand, if you're going through hard times, you should be able to communicate that and explain like, yeah, man, I just didn't want to get up on the meeting and put nothing on but my pajamas. And I think you should be able to jump on a Zoom call and that be okay. And I'm like, all right, man, that's fine. If we could just get on to the last 3 things, I'll give you back the last 30 minutes of your time to get the rest of your day together. If we had that grace with people and not be so stuck up, I think mental health will be a lot further than it has. And for anybody out there that has lost anybody, that has gone through, experienced burying, going through one of those tough moments, tough times where you do get so close and so to the edge, I think you have appreciation of those good times. You have appreciation of when you're on that high and when things are good. And I try to tell people when they get to those dark spaces and there's those dark times, you have to lean into when it was good. And if you lean into those times that were good, it allows you and gives you the ability to get back to what it looks like in those good times. But also, if you are experiencing, dark moments, you have to, and this is going to sound rough, but you have to sit in it so you can get out of it.
It's the truth, though.
So you have to go through certain times. And I think trials and tribulations, you can't go down in the valley and expect to be back at the highest peak without, climbing step by step to get to the top of that mountain. And for me, every time I am experienced dark times, just, close to like super depressed and beating myself up and self-sabotage of this pedestal, I always remember it was like, how did I already do it? And I try to keep that question in my mind. It's like, well, I already hit this level of success. I've already checked all these boxes. And once I come to my senses and come back around and get out of that space, I am able to give myself that grace. And I think my last part of mental health is just not pouring out of a cup that isn't already full. And if your cup is not full, there is no way you can pour into anyone else's cups. If you are a serial entrepreneur, you can't pour into every bucket equally, and you can't put 100% of that you into all of those buckets and businesses and brands and companies. I don't care how efficient, I don't care how much of assistant and team management you have, you can't pour into all of those buckets. And if you are one of those people and you're going through it and you can't see the other side, I think the best way is to just see tomorrow. And my quote is like, we all got the same 24 hours. It's all about how you spend yours. And I don't take it lightly because we know that those 24 hours aren't granted for the next day. But when you look at these current 24 hours, if I can capitalize, if I can just be in my space and be with myself and enjoy me, that I'll have another opportunity of those 24 hours the next day to maybe go have lunch or go have a dinner with someone or go bless and be a part of someone else's life, even if I couldn't feel it or receive it on my own. So I definitely have been able to see both sides of it. And unfortunately, dealing with the untimely, death of someone via suicide is also a way where we, appreciate life a lot more. I can't look at, her family and say that we could have ever done anything different to make a change in what happened. But I also can say, like, I am a better person, a better human being, and I give that grace to others that are going through those times because I did have to experience her death. And I love on her family, and I definitely take it serious, and I don't, play about mental health. I don't play about my own mental health. I don't play about others going through and experiencing rough times because I do know that there's another side of things that aren't, cute and pretty and glorified.
Facts.
But I appreciate that question because obviously it hits me, super close to home. But I do. So what you think about mental health?
I love it as well. And I was going to say 3 things you just said, right, that I stand on: grace, therapy, and that cup, right? I tell all my friends and people, like, you got to be able to extend that grace and also receive it because you're not better than nobody else, right? No matter what they did or what you did, nobody's perfect. So you got to have that grace. Yeah. Therapy. If you run around here, this room right now, and you bump your leg, break your knee or something, what you gonna do? Go to the doctor and get it worked on and get it fixed. Hurt your arm, you're gonna go get it fixed. Why would you not do the same thing with your mental state? It's the same, it's in the same body, a different part, but it's just how it's been shown upon this. And like you said, people don't want to do it, but go see it. I love when I go to therapy. It was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. When I got out of the military, my job was shooting missiles and stuff. How am I gonna do that back at home? When I got back, it was just like, what am I about to do? So a part of those times it was a little depressing. So going to therapy, those questions being asked to you, it makes you think about things you probably would never thought of and had come to a kumbaya of like, this is why I feel like this, or this is why I may react like that. Like, you need somebody to ask you those things outside of who's in your intermediate environment because obviously they've been there thus long. They haven't asked the right questions. So go to therapy in that cup. And I always say as well, if you're not at 100%, how do you expect to give that to somebody else? Why would you want to give somebody 30% of your love, 30% of your trust, 30% of this and that, when you can just sit back and work on yourself and at least get you to a good 90, 95 before you even start, but get somewhere to that space to do it. But it's just when it comes to me and mental health, I've seen, like, recently, it was, I say, going on 3 months now, a close friend committed suicide. And that was the first time I've known people to do it, but it was that close to me. It was just like, because that person was talking about strong-minded, this and that, but then when that happened, like, the reason that they said they did it within the suicidal note they wrote, it's like, I don't agree with it 100% at all, but from their mindset at that moment, it's like, I can see why they probably felt why they want to do it, but I still, let God do his thing and live your life. He's the ultimate decider of that, but so when it comes to mental health, you just never know what somebody is going through. You don't know anybody's past or what's going, like, your life can change just like that to where, I was up here, but now I'm in turmoil. But so I'm just saying mental health, I take it very serious. I don't play about it. I try speaking to all my friends as well. Take care of yourself in that area pretty much more than anything else. Because without your brain, hey, everything else going to be discombobulated. So Definitely double down on y'all mental health if y'all watch right now. And she gave a whole bunch of good pointers and tips and game. You may be dealing with what she dealt with, so don't just take it with a grain of salt and move forward, right? So I do love that. But before we get up out of here, right? Two more questions. If you could go back right now and talk to young Ace, what would you tell her? Just a brief look. What would you tell her? Whether it's some positive words or what would you tell yourself?
Young Ace. Whew. All right, number one, easy. You do not know everything. I promise you. Listen. I think I got told that, and I still didn't listen enough. Just not knowing everything would have probably taken me into a lot of conversations and rooms and be able to ask questions and actually hear the responses to those questions. Number two, get a therapist early. as soon as you got it, get it. So if I was able to go back to young Ace, I think obviously experiencing divorce, as an under 18, I would have, easily went there in that route. Number three, do not go to college. And what I mean by that is I could have experienced a lot of those experiences. Well, I wouldn't say do not go to college. Just don't worry about finishing college. I dropped out 5 times. That means I tried to go to college 5 different occasions. I spent a lot of money out of pocket, paying cash money to go to college to get this glorified degree, a sheet of paper, which no knocking anybody that got it. It was not for me. It was not the plan. It was not something that I should have indulged any time or energy. It literally took me off track. I would have been 10 times further in any form or place of my life without college. So I would just say not worry about it and follow your heart and your dreams, because that was not, those are my top 3. Outside of that, if I was just to sit here and speak to myself, I would literally just say, like, you are your biggest critic, you are your biggest supporter, and you are your biggest investor. And outside of those 3 things, everybody else is external. And that's family, that's friends, that's naysayers, that's enemies, that's foes. I spent a lot of time on people that was hating, on people that didn't believe it, that didn't see the dream, that didn't know that Ace was Ace. If I would have put that energy on believing that believing that I can go to the next level, believing that nobody can touch me, I'll be out of here. Like, we wouldn't be in the same conversations and rooms that I'm just now getting to in my early 30s. Like, I'm getting up here and I'm like, wow, I could have been here already. Like, I knew you back then. I just didn't know how to talk to you. I didn't believe that I could step to you like I can now. And I think number 5, of course, because number 4 was just, believing in myself and that I am that girl. But number 5, of course, you're a genius. And you are a Black, you are a girl genius. And we don't tell ourselves that we're geniuses. We don't give us that title and that encouragement. And I think Kanye's mom did it the best. She allowed Kanye West to believe that he was a genius and that he was innovative and that he can do anything that he put his mind to in any way or place that he'll ever walk into. In every room that he was entering, she was able to educate him to believe that he was that genius. And I think if I was able to ever to go back to me starting out and me building these businesses, there's not a money, there's not a dollar, there's not a bank account or I should have put this much up. None of that. I don't think any move I would have made me a little bit more rich or a little bit more successful. I believe that if I knew that I was a genius in my teens, if I knew that I was a genius at 11, at 12, and I believed that I was a genius, I would have been able to exceed every opportunity that has ever come and that could have come up. So if I was going back, like those would be my top 5. And I want to tell her to do anything different. Like Young Ace, Georgiana, whoever, the Young and Georgie, because a lot of people didn't even know that was like my nickname. But like as a kid, you was a genius. And like the things that I was able to accomplish that back then that people are just now getting, if I would have capitalized on it, went out of here. So
I love it. Usually I ask people to give us like some like specific advice to your industry, but you gave I feel you gave a lot already, so no need to go back and do that. But before you get up out of here, so what's next for Ace, and then tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Oh man, what's next? This year I plan to be the biggest and best version of philanthropist that I can be. I learned firsthand from Usher. He was one of my mentors growing up, and he did philanthropy really, really well. And so I believe that is that next step. That's that next level of my career, my business, my brands, is how can I be the best philanthropist and how can I make other people really good at giving back and giving the opportunities, because we're all in this, we've inherited this legacy that we have to go to the next level. And that next level means that we have to look back and bring somebody up. And so if you see me putting somebody on, or if you see me talking about a business or a brand that's upcoming, because that's what's so important to me now, because I made big brands big. I made millionaires billionaires. I've been able to take people and change their lives and the trajectory of their children and their grandchildren. So why not do it for the people that are closest to me, people that want to start their own business, that want to go to the next level? So you'll see a lot of that. You will see a lot of what you will see my circle and the people that are around me talking about me, and I think giving me my flowers in a way where I'm educating, I'm able to give value, I'm able to open my mouth and give out these successes that are normally gate-kept and are normally connections that aren't connected normally, because people want to pay for it or people are charging. And what I'm planning on doing is I want to connect as many people this year that I've ever connected in my entire life. And so if I can give you a phone number, an email, or just put myself in that position to connect you on a 3-way call, that might be the change in your life and your business and your brand that you need. And I see that is what I'm gonna do this year. I'm on a couple tours, so I am still DJing. I am taking my career, which my 9-to-5 life, to the next level. But I'm also not negating where I've already come from and where I've been, in those places that I've been able to, work really hard at. And then my youth program, Ace Youth Incorporated, this will be like my really big launch year where I'm in the community. And I've been in the community, and I did it you would call it like the broke CD, the old way of things where you just go into the store, buy up all the Nikes and go give it away. Or the turkey situation where they just buy the turkeys and give them away. People are like, well, how they gonna cook the turkeys? I think I'm at that level where I'm going into the career days, I'm going into the high schools, I'm talking to the kids, and I'm really touching those touch points that are often missed. You might see somebody come back to your school, but they come one time. I want to be able to come back and they know me by name and by face, and I'm able to give people opportunities, give them jobs, and let them go to the next level. And if I could seed into the next millionaire, the big Bill Gates or Kanye West or those celebrities that are right here in our community and our neighborhood, and they could look back and tell their story that somebody found me, like, and use my name and say Ace gave me this chance, or even if they are able to, not, give me my kudos or my flowers, I know that I was able to help. And that's all that matters for me. So that's what's next. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell y'all my jobs, my resume, where to find me and all that good stuff. But hey, I'm Ace. They call it Ace Made It because I done made so much. So you go to acemadeit.com. Find me there, DJ. If you need a DJ, 844 Need a DJ is the brand. So you can call anytime. I'll get you all ages, all genres, all events. DJs will take care of you, and I stand on it. My personal brand is DJ A-Star. So if you do need DJ A-Star services, that's the same one on social media is at DJ A-Star. I'm pretty branded because I learned social media at a young age that if you put at DJ A-Star anywhere, you Google me, baby, you can find me, baby.
Let's go.
But yeah, outside of that, my foundation is really moving to the next level. So having a 501c3 is great. And I tell anybody, if you are in any business, you got to give back. You got to go back to where you came from and pull somebody up and help them. So I think that's pretty much the only ways to find me. You know what I'm saying? My number, if you can reach me, get to me. But yeah, I appreciate it, you just looking out, sir,
sure.
because obviously I've watched you come up, and I think the first 25 episodes, I was like, oh, he pushing. He pushing through them. But outside of that, just seeing, a young black guy get behind this mic and not talk crazy and not talk that BS that we're starting to see when people are taking this podcasting not serious, but to able, to open up your platform and give people like me a voice that often are, stories that aren't told, that stories that people don't get to hear. So I definitely want to appreciate you and give you your flowers because,
thank you.
Hey, maybe this is the interview that's going,
hey, man.
This is the rocket launcher that, maybe a couple of my celebrity friends,
come on now.
Come on and get on Inherited and talk about, the success that you guys have inherited, because like this guy is gonna be out of here and it's gonna cost a pretty penny to get on the show now.
Hey, she already telling you, I ain't gotta say it. She telling you the truth.
Facts.
I appreciate you for coming through for real.
Thank
it was
you.
a long time coming. I've been watching from afar. I just waiting for that right time. But hey, guys, time is perfect.
Yes.
But again, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in to the Inherited Podcast. I am Sir Gates. You can find me on Instagram at Sir Gates BC. Make sure you follow their podcast page at Inherited Podcast. NHERITD Podcast. Make sure you go on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and always leave me a dope comment, man. So until next time, we are out. It's Inherited Podcast, man. Salute.